How is it that I'm having to make new videos about the same two characters that I've already talked about? I'm of the opinion that Mercy has become less and less fun to play since her rework in September. So much so that I stopped playing her soon after. Gone were the days of dodging enemy flankers, standing by my team and doing my damnedest to keep them alive, and resurrecting them en masse as needed to make critical blocks or pushes to secure a victory, or at the very least make the enemy team work harder for theirs. Now were the days of Valkyrie, and Mercy becoming a mandatory part of any team composition. So much so that she's seen nothing but nerf after nerf after nerf to try and rein her in and give rise to other healers' viability and pick rates. So why has Valkyrie been so powerful in the past? Mercy's base movement speed went from 5.5 meters per second running to 9 meters per second with free flying. That's roughly a 63% increase in speed. The Caduceus staff can chain heal and damage boost all enemies within 10 meters of Mercy's primary connection target, from up to 30 meters away. Resurrect has gone through various iterations during Valkyrie, from having a 4-second cooldown, to gaining 1 additional charge for Valkyrie's duration, to having absolutely no res bonus whatsoever. Guardian Angel's speed was 200% of normal, but now only has a 50% increase of speed. Guardian Angel's range was increased. Her 20 HPS self-healing is constant and cannot be interrupted. The Caduceus Blaster has infinite active ammo for its duration, requiring no reload. The Caduceus Blaster's projectile speed was supposedly increased from 40 meters per second to 90 meters per second, or 125% faster. But I seem to recall that this part of Valkyrie never made it to the live servers. I couldn't find any information one way or the other, so I tried testing it in the practice range, and personally I couldn't discern a difference between the non-ultimate and ultimate firing rate. But most sites I checked still seem to think it's a thing. It's a transformation ult, so it can't be completely stunned, cancelled, or CC'd. You can stall it in various increments, but you either have to kill her or let Valkyrie run its course, which it usually could because, for the longest time, it lasted for 20 seconds. It's down to 15 now, but it also lacks any real kind of identity. It's a bastardized version of different heroes' abilities. But none of that compares to the stat that I've already mentioned that gives it the majority of its strength. The range of the Caduceus staff is increased from 15 meters to 30 meters. Zenyatta has the right to long-range healing because he's a slow, non-mobile healer whose single-target healing is sort of low, and Ana has to aim. I understand that it's an ultimate, but even as it is now, it lasts roughly twice as long as any other ultimate in the game, and she can maintain her reliably consistent method of healing from locations so far away that other heroes can't effectively deal with her. Your best odds of shutting down Valkyrie are Deadeye, Tactical Visor, or a decent Widowmaker, all of which can't affect a Mercy that chooses to stay low and isn't leaving herself out in the open like a lemming. Hell, I don't even think it's particularly overpowered. If anything, it's weak as it is now. I can't think of one time in recent memory where I've heard
Helden sterben nicht
and thought to myself, I need to take out that Mercy. Most of the time I just ignore her, because it's not like she's going to be hanging out anywhere within the range of the heroes I typically play, and it's in my best interest just to focus on whoever my teammates are focusing on at that moment. So from an opposing perspective, it lacks any real threat, and from a playing perspective, it's not particularly fun or engaging, provides no significant utility, and worst of all, has no unique identity. Mercy used to be the second wind of the game. Her ultimate was the only one in the game that had the potential to reignite the flame of a battle. People can claim that was unfun, but there's no denying how good the victor of the second round felt. If your Mercy resurrected a majority of your team and you pushed back for a hard-earned victory, it was a great feeling. Simultaneously though, if an enemy Mercy resurrected a majority of her team and you and yours shut them down again, it was also super satisfying. Anyway, let's just get down to it. Of course I have some suggestions for changes, and I'm going to spout them off for no better reason than I want to. But as always, I want to explain my overall goals before I just dive into the meat and potatoes portion. Among the goals of my suggestions are the following. Move the power of Resurrect into Valkyrie, and keep it solely within Valkyrie's duration. It's a powerful ability that shouldn't be so readily and frequently accessible. Even one of the most recent developer updates mentions how Resurrect, when combined with the past iterations of Valkyrie most notably, made it feel like Mercy had access to 2 ultimate abilities. At the same time, an ability on cooldown doesn't feel as rewarding or fair as one that is earned, especially considering how powerful Res is as a game mechanic. Make Resurrect an engaging part of Valkyrie that requires some skill to perform, doesn't feel unfairly punishing to use, and has reasonable counterplay options as well. Keep Mercy's overall playstyle simplistic, but make her ultimate playstyle more hands-on than it currently is. Allow Mercy's ult to be preventative as well as reactionary. Keep Mercy closer to the action. No more complaining about hide and res, no more allowing Mercy to hang out near the skybox or outside of everyone's range while simultaneously healing her whole team. Between 8 and 10 second duration. As is, I still think Valkyrie lasts too long. It needs a stronger identity with unique and impacting mechanics at the cost of bringing down its total active time even more. Free flight remains. Free flight is the one part of Valkyrie I don't think anybody particularly hates, and it deserves to remain in my mind. Guardian Angel's speed and range unchanged. Guardian Angel is a great ability. With the current movement speed and the recent tweaks to the momentum, it feels fine. As a hero, Mercy's strong point is her mobility, even if it is incredibly team-oriented, while her weakness is multitasking, and I feel that shouldn't be changed too much. Caduceus' blaster retains infinite ammo. This isn't inherently broken or flawed, so I see no harm in letting it stay. Constant HP regen removed. Since some of these changes are geared toward making her into an incredibly mobile character, it seems a bit much to keep her constant health regeneration in the mix. Let this be part of the distinguishing factors of those who play Mercy. The good ones will be able to get their natural regen to kick in the old-fashioned way with their enhanced mobility, rather than have it spoon-fed to them. Primary beam healing is increased to 75 healing per second when Valkyrie is active, 25% increase. You'll see why in a second, just chill out. Secondary healing beams are lowered to 45 healing per second, that's a 25% decrease. Mercy retains the split beams she currently has during Valkyrie, but their effectiveness is reduced to compensate for her stronger primary target healing and resurrection capabilities. Split beams only attach to living targets and are emitted regardless of whether the primary healing target is living or dead. Max beam range remains 15 meters during Valkyrie, down from 30 meters. My suggestions so far give Mercy increased movement speed to her free flying while Valkyrie is active, as well as her usual Guardian Angel ability. Personally, I believe Mercy shouldn't be able to take herself out of the reasonable range of any and all potential threats, so to bring in additional risk to her stronger primary target healing and her still competent secondary healing beams, she's gonna have to stick as close to the action as she always does. This suggestion is also intended to help balance the key Valkyrie suggestion that I have yet to list. Resurrect removed from the E button. The speed penalty and set cast time are removed, as Resurrect now functions entirely different. The primary Valkyrie change I have in mind is inspired by the TF2 Medic's Reanimators from the Man vs. Machine game mode. When a player dies in MVM, a Reanimator device drops and deploys a holographic projection of the class that died. Upon healing the projection to half of the dead character's total health pool, they are revived at full health and ready to jump back into the fray. When I thought about it at length, it seemed like this method of resurrection could also work for Mercy. The souls that her teammates leave behind on death could already serve the purpose that the Reanimators from TF2 serve. While Valkyrie is active, any dead hero that Mercy is within 5 to 7 meters of, and is targeted by her primary healing beam, will be resurrected upon being healed for half of their total HP. The following lists the amount of time Mercy would have to heal each hero's soul to meet the requirements to resurrect each of them. Bear in mind, this is with the suggestion that her primary healing beam does 75 healing per second instead of 60. Tracer and D.Va for 75 HP, 1 second. It's worth noting that D.Va has a particularly unique synergy with this method of resurrection among the tank classes. 200 HP heroes for 100 HP. Genji, Soldier 76, Sombra, Pharah, McCree, Hanzo, Junkrat, Torbjorn, Widowmaker, Ana, Moira, Lucio, Zenyatta, Symmetra, and another Mercy, 1.33 seconds. Reaper, Doomfist, Mei, and Brigitte for 125 HP, 1.66 seconds. Bastion for 150 HP, 2 seconds. Zarya and Orisa for 200 HP, 2.66 seconds. Winston and Reinhardt for 250 HP, 3.33 seconds. Roadhog for 300 HP, 4 seconds. By adjusting the duration of the ult, you can regulate the effective total number of heroes Mercy could potentially resurrect. teams composed of smaller heroes could effectively be rezzed in totality, while teams comprised mostly of tanks would have less effective synergy with Mercy in that capacity. Her stronger healing during Valkyrie would probably be better utilized in attempting to prevent the deaths of tanks rather than used to res them. Souls bleed 50 HP per second when not being healed. If Mercy started to heal a dead hero, but then decided to bail because things were getting too hot for them to handle, the soul would lose 50 of the HP Mercy healed them every second. This also serves to give res counterplay, as stuns and CC abilities will cause Mercy's progress to be undone, even if only slightly each time. Players resurrected and then killed cannot be resurrected again during the course of the same use of Valkyrie. Congrats, your Mercy got you and some teammates back in the game. But oh no, that Reaper foresaw that and saved his ult for just such an occasion. Heroes who die within 10 seconds of being rezzed won't even drop a soul anymore. Much like the old Resurrect ultimate, if you aren't able to do something constructive with this second chance and get killed as a result, don't expect Mercy to be able to bail you out a second time so soon. I didn't really suggest any changes regarding Mercy's regular playstyle, so this is mostly an attempt to justify and reiterate the ideas behind these Valkyrie changes. A big idea behind making res work in this capacity was to remove the movement speed penalty, which feels sticky and punishing, by giving her a little freedom of movement to work with while trying to pull off a res. It was also conceived with the idea of granting Mercy players the capacity for getting a mass res like they used to be able to get, but requiring dedicated input on the player's part to make it happen. With range and time constrictions to consider, each resurrection would require a certain level of commitment from Mercy players. Requiring her to stay within 5 to 7 meters of a soul to complete a resurrection, but also allowing her the opportunity to look around so she can better dodge, or even straight up bail if things look too sketchy, without losing her ability to res for a completely arbitrary and set amount of time because somebody coughed on her, also feels more fun to her users, while being fair to her opponents as well. The old Resurrect was entirely reactionary, requiring someone to be dead before it could even be used. The current Valkyrie, on the other hand, is completely preemptive, as using it when a teammate is dead has no advantage of any kind, because Resurrect's restrictions are still in place, and you're also a larger and brightly glowing target while Valkyrie is active. When combined with the addition of her stronger primary healing and still competent secondary healing, Valkyrie has preemptive and reactionary capabilities, but the proactive capabilities wouldn't be as strong as those of Zenyatta's and Lucio's, making their ultimates better in that capacity. And there we have it. A preventative and reactionary, engaging yet simplistic, unique and powerful ultimate ability that gives Mercy a chance to mirror her former mass res glory days, but also adding some new restrictions to make it fair, while keeping the more liberating facets of Valkyrie to help make it fun as well. Mercy was my go-to healing support for the longest time because of her familiar playstyle and game-changing ultimate. When that was taken away, she became a simplistic hero who becomes even more simplistic and disengaged from the rest of the game for 12 seconds at a time. My interest in this may be a bit biased, but I'd like to think I provided enough rationalization in my thought process to provide an idea a majority could accept. Like it? Hate it? Feel free to voice your opinions below. I read all comments and enjoy reading others' ideas on game balancing, even if I don't agree with them. And if you feel so inclined, go ahead and mash the sub button. Overwatch typically gives me a lot to think and talk about, but I try to branch out into whatever is relevant to my interests, so who knows what's next. Until next time, though, take it easy, YouTube. Anything but
bow before the Nostradamus of Overwatch.
So, Symmetra.
I hate you. I hate